Yes, guys, good morning. I hope you are all well. Welcome back to the YouTube. Now, obviously, settled back in glorious Sheffield, back to training, back into routine again, and I'm actually going to start my diet over the weekend. So today is Friday, the 28th. So I'm actually going to take a check-in video and pictures this morning. By the way, the headband is not because I've seen everyone else wear one this past week and I just think, oh, I need to pick myself up one of those. It's just to stop my baby hairs from taking over the fucking world. They do look pretty good on other people, just not too sure about it on myself. But anyways, Mark has literally left me no battery on this, so I best get my check-in filmed ASAP so I don't end up having this cut halfway through. So here is the starting point for this little dieting phase. So at the moment, body weight is sat at 68.5, and just for reference, I'm 5'3", so not very tall. Over the past few months, I am about 4 kilos up compared to when I last finished my previous dieting phase, which has been a super steady rate of gain over the last while, which I'm actually pretty pleased about. It's just enabled me to stay a little bit more confident in my own skin as well, because that was a big goal of mine, to still be able to make improvements, still be able to live a little bit more life as well alongside my bodybuilding, and still feel good about the physique that I live day in, day out in, because I think that that is really important. And not to mention as well, this is me off the back of a 3-week trip away to Dubai and Thailand, where I did have more flexibility. I was enjoying a few more off-plan meals, and not all of that is obviously going to be tracked as much as I am still pretty on the ball with my normal meals and cooking for myself. There was a little bit more deviation than what there typically would be if I was at home, because that is what a trip is all about, right? Just assessing this now, I think I would like to pull off around 5 kilos, but I'm not going to weigh in on the number too much. Visuals and how I feel on myself is always going to be the most important thing. But if I was to highlight a couple of points, definitely want to keep my legs full and see my upper body and my waist just get a little bit tighter. So check-in is done. It's just transferred all that footage onto my phone there so I can actually have a proper look through it in a little bit. But to be fair, I'm not mad about it at all, given that I've been away for 3 weeks and obviously it's been a lot more sort of flexible with food than what I would typically be at home. But it's good to be back into a routine now, and exciting to have like a different process to move forward with now in the next few weeks. Like, I actually wasn't supposed to start dieting until next week, but I'm pretty sure Mark is going to start a week early, so I was just like, I might as well just start a week early then, and not have a whole week of feeling like I'm missing out. What I do today is map everything out when it comes to the setup for my diet, and obviously I'll run through with you kind of what I'm looking to change. Look at how lovely that is. I mean, it's not exactly Dubai and Thailand, but I will say I'm pretty happy to come back to this and not it being just totally pissing it down. In terms of, God, I can't even see. In terms of time frame, I'm thinking about 9 weeks or so, probably less. Just to, enough time basically just to get me to where I want to be. So nothing that's super rigid on that. So I'm just going to be very much playing it by ear, week in, week out. But I think it's always nice to get stuck into a fat loss phase after having a little bit of a trip away, being a little more flexible. I think that mentally, physically, you sort of feel like you're in a very good place to do that. Just to update you as well on the back end of the trip, because I know that you sort of saw all the highlights, like, you know what it's like Instagram is always a bit of a highlight reel, but genuinely, and I mean this, everything that could have gone wrong on that trip went wrong. My suitcase didn't arrive in Dubai on the way back. The whole reason why I went to Dubai and Thailand in the first place was, one, yes, for a holiday, so either way, like, I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to do that trip, and I'm very fortunate and grateful to be in that position where I can just pick up and go and work whilst I'm away. But the main reasons why I was like really in Dubai and in Thailand as well, like, the point of that whole trip sort of fell through a little bit, but in any case, still got a nice holiday out of it. Oh my God, I'm not going to walk up this hill, Jesus Christ. In case we didn't arrive in Dubai on the trip back from Thailand to Dubai. Managed to pick that up, I think, like a day or two later. It arrived literally middle of the night, like 12 o'clock. And I got back to the UK and someone had actually stolen my car details. So when I was trying to get Wi-Fi on the plane, and I obviously had, like, I was typing in my car details, I'm dead sure, like dead certain, that the person behind me, who definitely looked a little bit sus, they saw my car details, my phone, through the two seats. I was getting all of these like random things pop up on my statement saying that I was getting like Nando's and McDonald's, and I'm like, I've definitely not got McDonald's in a long time. So I'm like, this is not me. So obviously I had to sort out the whole like fraud claim thing. Anyways, it's all sorted now. The case is back. I got my money back, so it's all good. But yeah, like sometimes shit just goes a little bit wrong. You have to just go with the flow. Be like water. Isn't that the phrase? Because at the end of the day, that's just life. Things happen and things don't always go to plan, but I'm definitely one of those people that when things don't go to plan, I'm like, oh my god, I just feel super overwhelmed, and I'm like, why is this happening? But glad to be back now, ready to get stuck into this diet, and yeah, let's get it. Back for meal one, which is pretty much the same. 1 trout fillet, 150 grams of egg white, 1 whole egg, 200 grams of veg, and then I also have a little bit of apple cider vinegar as well for digestion, which I have every single morning with a straw because the acid is not very good for your teeth. Invisalign update for you all as well. Just as annoying as they were on week 1, and my teeth are still not straight, so that's good. Another experience that I've had to get used to across the past 3 weeks being away is that having to peel these out in a public environment is just the best thing ever. I'm living my best life right now, but it will be worth it. First task of the day is I've just literally filmed a few reels for Instagram, which is why I actually look half presentable now, whereas this morning I looked like a toe. I just wanted to go through, actually, seeing as I am starting a diet, what I think is really important to have in place before starting a diet to basically set yourself up for success. So firstly is actually a period of time spent out of a diet. That sounds really straightforward, but you would be surprised by how many people yo-yo in and out of dieting, which when you're a foot in, a foot out, it never really pushes you in any direction. You sort of just end up being the same. So I think that to set yourself up for a diet, you actually need to spend enough time out of a diet for 2 reasons. 1, physically, you are going to be in a much better position when it comes to actually having given your body a break from the last time you were in a deficit, rather than perpetually trying to be in a fat loss phase, which never bodes well. Because the idea is that along this time, you would have been able to build your food up. The higher you can build your food, the lower you can taper your cardio down, the more tools you'll have in your toolbox. So that means that often if you start from a higher point with your calories and a lower point with your cardio and steps, that gives you more room to move, like more room to pull your calories down, more room to bring your expenditure up. Like I said, tools in a toolbox. So the idea there is that you're not necessarily going to have to take calories quite as low as if you started from a lower starting point, or you won't have to bring cardio or expenditure up as high as if you'd start from a higher starting point there. Now, that might not directly correlate to being able to keep your food super high or being able to prevent your cardio from going higher, but it is certainly a great place to start and a great way to actually set yourself up. As you go through that process and build food up, you're going to be able to have more fuel in the tank to put towards training. And what is the goal of being able to train hard, to build food, give yourself those extra calories? It's so you can gain some more muscle tissue. So the more muscle that you have, the more of a difference it's going to make as you actually go into that dieting phase and you start to strip things back. If you don't have muscle, you're not going to have that shape or that definition to pull through as you start to pull your body fat down. Not to mention as well that the more muscle mass you have, the more metabolically active you are. So you actually require, your body requires more calories at rest or just going about your day-to-day life than if you had less muscle mass. Therefore, in theory, you may need to diet on slightly higher calories, marginally, than you would if you didn't have as much muscle. The next very important part is you feel ready to diet mentally. When someone perpetually diets all year round and they experience constant restriction, I think a lot of people get to that point where they're just no longer sticking to their diet. So every time they yo-yo back down or back into a fat loss phase, it's like they're not really switched on and they just end up going back to the same habits as what they did before, maybe snacking a little bit, not really taking it all that seriously, not being adherent to plan, even binging, which is not a position that you want to be in going to a diet. If you are going into a diet and you are struggling not to binge, you are probably not ready to diet. So spending time being less restricted, being able to be a little bit more flexible with food, being able to enjoy occasions, going out for meals with friends and family, like all of these things contribute to you mentally being in the right headspace to reduce your calories and actually adhere to the plan. And then hopefully actually enjoy that process as well. Rather than just being miserable, you enjoy the challenges that come with that fat loss phase without feeling like you're resentful of it. So the bottom line is make sure that you are spending enough time out of a diet before re-entering a diet. The last time I dieted was it ended before we went to Vegas, which was actually in October, I believe, of last year. So that has given me October, November, December, January, February. So basically, I've been out of a diet now for 5 months. I'm a few kilos heavier than what I was when I ended that last diet, as I've been building since, just in a very steady way. Like, I was really committed to this time around being able to really take my time with this and not get as heavy as what I previously have done before, just because I don't feel like there's any need to do that, and obviously making sure that I'm still able to enjoy that process, able to enjoy how I look and feel on my own skin. I think that for the most part, actually, I'm pretty happy with the work that I've done and where I'm at now and what I've been able to improve, or what I have improved over the past few months. And also being able to have more balance, like being more flexible with food, trying to live a little bit more life over the past few months as well was a big goal of mine. And I definitely feel like I'm really proud of the work that I've put with that, because before then, like, everything was very much like, I was very, very rigid when it comes to bodybuilding, and you obviously don't need to be that way. I definitely am excited for this. It has been a little while since I've seen myself a little bit leaner, and I want to feel a bit more confident in myself as well coming up to summer. I know that I'm not in bad shape. I'm actually pretty happy with the shape that I'm in, but at the same time, I just feel like there is just another level. Like, there is, and often that is all that it needs to be. It's not necessarily that you have to be unhappy in yourself to want to make a change, but it's just that you know that you can be better, and you know that there is that next level for you to accomplish and work towards, which I think is very, very exciting. I'm just getting meal 2 ready, which is my yogurt meal. So I actually put a poll up on my Instagram the other day on if you prefer broccoli or, I still say farge. I know it's Faye, but I'm gonna say farge just to wind people up. This, for me, all day long. Like, I am loyal to the farge. Like, genuinely, this does not taste the same. It's not as creamy. This is like whipped, you know what I mean? It's proper whipped and proper thick. But because I sometimes go to Aldi with Mark, usually if I'm shopping myself, I shop at Tesco because I'm posh like that. But if I ever go with Mark, then obviously I'll just pick up the broccoli one. And then if I've got some of the farge from a Tesco trip, I'll just mix the two together, because it makes this not as bad, and it doesn't seem to affect too much of the goodness of this, as long as it's at least like a 65-70% percentage of this. I actually know that one of these tubs is about 40 grams, because I have weighed them before. I just saves washing up. So if I can, I'll just eat the yogurt and mix everything like within the yogurt tub itself. Oh. And there is the final result. So that is 250 grams of 0% fat Greek yogurt, 150 grams of raspberries, and 15 grams of almond butter. This is like totally unrelated, Actually, two totally unrelated things. One, I've just realised that recently I've just realised that when I take my Invisalign out, right, at first, when I put my Invisalign in, I had a lisp. Now, when I take my Invisalign out, I have a lisp. So how the fuck is this going to work? Like, when eventually my treatment is finished, am I just going to end up with a lisp forever? I got my nails done the other day. I got just French tip, standard. I was in a hurry, so I was like, look, just give me French tip. I can't be asked for choosing, like, the whole choosing colour decision fatigue scenario. And I was like, you just notice little things, right? And then I noticed that the nail tech that I had, her earrings were swastikas. And I was like, does she know that her earrings are swastikas? Should I be worried? Should I tell her? I didn't really know what to make of that, but I just thought I would mention it anyway because I was sort of confused. I was like, does she know? Does she not know? Is this deliberate? But yeah, you can tell me. You can tell me. In the meantime, I'm going to just enjoy this, and then I'm going to get back some client messages and get some more work done. So I'll see you in the next clip. Just back from legs, so this is now the following day. I just thought that yesterday I might as well just start off making a few changes anyway, seeing as I was looking to start dieting this weekend, and I have dropped all but 0.1 of a kilo, so that is a step in the right direction. I'm just there, like, made a few changes off the back of like half a day, and I'm like, why am I not shredded yet? But we know it doesn't happen like that. So I just wanted to quickly run you through kind of where I'm starting off at. Obviously, right now, I've been following a baseline plan, which I set for myself because I've been coaching myself for the past while. But obviously, I've had some flexibility within that too, like a good bit more flexibility than maybe what I have done in the past around like building phases. So it's not been as straightforward as pinpointing down. Pinpointing down, is that even a word? Exact numbers. So, I'm going to make a pretty solid pull off of roughly where I was at before, and I'm also going to drive forward my expenditure. Now, I'm not going to add any cardio in for myself quite yet. I'm focusing mainly on my routine and just tidying up, just being a little bit more accurate with things when it comes to my, weighing things out, logging everything, and just being a little bit more accountable. Especially as you go into a diet, you do need to be a bit more accurate with things. So what I'm going to do is tidy everything up when it comes to just being more accurate with my tracking. And secondary to that, I'm going to bring my steps up. So before I was probably tracking around 10k steps a day. And then now I'm actually going to give that a good shift because I do want to see things drive forward fairly quickly. I don't like hanging around for long. So I'm actually going to bump my steps up to like 15k. But again, no cardio in. I just want to see what I can get out of it. It's just doing steps for now and keeping cardio out, which I started yesterday. And food-wise, I'm going to take around a 500 calorie pull off the back of both my train day and a rest day. So a good shift. And again, that's on top of like just tidying things up a little bit more. Then essentially my macros are looking around, you know what, I'll show you. Oh God, I'm just trying to, this is, okay. So this is, so I have a little tracker for myself, and this is what my macros are going to be going forward. So that's 2,150 on a train day calories on train day, 1,860 on a non-training day. And obviously my protein is sat just a little bit below that 200 grams mark. And fats, carbs obviously vary a little bit more so whether it's a training day or a rest day. And that's what we're going to roll with going forward from here, and just going to gauge the response in my body before I then make any further changes, because I might see a nice shift over the next few days based on being consistent with this, maybe not. So if not, then I'll just drive things forward a little bit more. I do anticipate, because I haven't taken as much time to obviously build my I'm not as heavy as maybe what I have been starting this diet compared to before, and then two, my food is not as high at the back end of this build than it has been previously. So I do anticipate this time around having to push food down a little bit more so than what I have done in the past, because again, the higher you build food, typically the higher you can actually keep it in a diet. Now, I'm not too fussed about that. My appetite is really not too crazy at the moment. I do have a big appetite though, so I'm sure that that'll be rampant before long. But I am excited to drive this on and obviously trying to make sure that training performance stays at the forefront of my mind, because obviously the goal is to retain as much muscle as possible when you diet. Like, that is the goal. Lose body fat, retain as much muscle, and then I will be a happy bunny. Let's put it that way. So I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight as to how things have been since kind of being back in the UK, and obviously what the plans are going forward. And I hope that you'll want to follow along with this little dieting series, what we'll even call it, maybe Project Tanned and Whammed, because I definitely feel like I need to get a little bit more of a tan back. But if you did enjoy the vlog and if you do want to see more of them, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next update.